Good night once again for the third time. I'm Roy Morris, Director of Citizen Engagement and Media Relations in the Prime Minister's Office, and this is St. Andrew Speaks. So I can say welcome to St. Andrew because unlike all the other locations we hold these, I live in St. Andrew. Prime Minister doesn't allow me to represent, so I won't be able to say what my problems are, but I'll tell her otherwise. Now, seriously, if you have something that you want to deliver tonight, as I said before, you must be from the parish of St. Andrew. This is St. Andrew Speaks. It is your night. Feel free to share. Don't be bashful. Don't feel that something is not for our ears. If it is personal and you say it to one of the crew at the Prime Minister's office, we'll put a personal note on it, and then we may handle it quietly rather than at the mic. But the point is, we are here for you tonight. If you are speaking, go to the desk at the back. They'll give you a number. You'll give them basic information, and you come back and take one of these chairs in the middle, and in the order in which you got your numbers, and then you go to the mic and you deliver. At the head table, we have Prime Minister, the Honorable Mayor Amor Motley, the constituency representative, Dr. Springer, and Senior Minister, Dr. Duguid. Let me apologize for the absence of the Deputy Prime Minister, who is dealing with a tragic matter in her constituency, and the absence as well of the Attorney General, who is speaking at the passing out parade at Regional Police Training Center at this time. So without further ado, I will allow the MP to introduce himself and say whatever he has to say, and then we'll go directly to the audience.
Good night, and thank you all for coming here tonight. I believe we will have a very engaging discussion about some of the things that concern you in St. Andrew. Of course, I've been working very hard, certainly over the past year since the last St. Andrew Speak, addressing a number of the issues that were raised when we last met here. So the fact that I see in certain persons here indicates to me that perhaps some of those matters have been dealt with, but at the same time, I am certain that there are still a few matters, certainly within the parish of St. Andrew, that needs addressing, and tonight is your opportunity to come forward and speak to those matters. We are all ears, and we are here to listen, and wherever possible, we will try to not only respond, but to address those matters as they are raised. So, over to you, Pino.
Thank you very much, Rommel. Let me apologize for the late start. We had some urgent matters today, this evening, and we're here now. So without further ado, may I invite the first person to come to the mic. I love your smile.
Hi, good night. Yeah, my name is Andrew Williams. I'm here on the behalf of Wellness Explorers, my hiking group. Now, on my experience of hiking, I come across a couple pollutants dealing with the water course leading from Bellplain. Bellplain Words Road. I discovered some pollutants from Pig Farm. That's in between the stretch from King Yarlin. This water is running right direct to the river. And I does a lot of fishing in Long Pond, and I ain't getting a crayfish from like King Yarlin to Long Pond. So if you continue. Talking to me?
The pollutants are from where?
From the pig farm.
Pig
This
farm.
water is running from the pig farm straight to the river course, and it's polluting the river. And if we don't really check this and do something, I may feed it might cause a lot of danger, because the fish really want to eat the mosquitoes in the river, and there ain't really much fish in the river.
I got you.
So we need to look into this.
I got
It's
you.
traveling as far as like down to boxes. Like if it's dry, well, if we stand up by every water, every rain falling, it can travel.
What I can do is ask for the report from the Ministry of Environment to go and see what's the position and give me a report, and then I will ask Mr. Morris to share it with you and your group so that you can see one, what they found, and two, what the actions we're going to take to follow up. Is that fair?
Yes.
It may well be that Ministry of Environment should go with you because you may need to show them
But
exactly.
I work at King Trail Path. These didn't dump dead folks right where you're working.
Jeez,
Sometimes we got 2 weeks off of the work. We can't even work all these stench. Just killing.
and who dumping the dead chickens?
I ain't got a clue. You turn out the morning and you find the people just
All right,
dumping
no
things in the
problem.
water course.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. You give us the information.
And, okay. I won't go into that. And that's one. My next one is this is more referring to the soil conservation and like going through the parishes. I go do a lot of terraces. And I realized that the bush is growing so high in the terraces that it's causing erosion, causing the water and flowing no more. And some of these trees growing up the river, just struggling to get through. Which the soil used to do, like cover these things, and I realized now the soil is not really covering it because it's really getting out of hand. Especially areas like from between like Greenland to like Cleveland, coming across Morgan Lewis, coming back to like Greenland, like going back to Sedge Pond, that kind of area. These terraces, like, I don't know if the soil still go there. Yeah. These terraces would be clear that you could just walk the terraces and you could get in and out, but no, they are just blocked right up.
Is there anybody here from Soil Conservation? Mr. Morris? No one is here. This is the one meeting that Soil Conservation Unit should be at. So could you please get on to the phone and ask Minister where I wasn't repeating his name, where they are or where he is? Thank you.
And my last
Just
point-
give us the information and we will make sure that I get Soil Conservation Unit to give us a report, because if there's one place, as I said, there should be is in the Scotland district.
And my last point is, this is just a suggestion to the government when it comes to like utilizing the water courses that we have in St. Andrew. Because I observe that all the water courses just lying with bush, rubber terminal or foolish trees that we ain't gaining nothing from. We talk about agriculture. I guess we can utilize the water on both sides. The land on both sides is the stream of the rivers. We got rivers from Cleveland, Greenland, Borden, Sedge Pond, Turner Salt, Whitehill, Highgate. Right round, when you go right round St. Andrew, there's rivers, there's water courses. And right now all I can see is bush. And this water that I just want to go in the sea, I feel the agriculture section should utilize this water we got from both sides.
What I will do, we had a meeting today, and at the meeting was also Dr. Farrell from the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology, and he has been working with us, for example, to solve the problems in Montpoyer, and I think we're more or less there now. We're also looking at other studies. Wakefield, BADMC owes me a report on Wakefield, and in addition to that, there are going to be other studies. They were just signing the consultancy now with the company out of Canada to be able to come in and do a groundwater assessment. But I will ask them also to take into account your points about the amount of water flowing through the water courses and how can we dam it and properly catch it to be able to help the farmers this side of the
Or
island.
plant trees, or plant fruit trees.
A combination of the two. And remember, Haggett's existed for that reason. And that's why we're trying to bring order back to Haggett's, because I remember as a child coming down here and being delighted to come down here because of all of the fruit trees that you would see bearing and in good condition. So we just need to be able to have a different approach again, and that's why I say I'm deeply disappointed that Soil Conservation Unit, Mr. Morris, Roy, is not here. Deeply disappointed, so I would like to speak to them separately. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Thank you.
And let me say, these are the kinds of suggestions, Andrew, that your contribution, I hope others will come forward across parish by parish, because what you're doing is bringing local knowledge to merge with government policy. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. My name is Selena King, and I'm from Babylon Road, Belle Plaine, St. Andrew. Yes, so this evening I'm here representing the St. Andrew Community Development Commission, which is a new group that was established in St. Andrew, and it's basically focused on empowering the communities through tourism initiatives. So this year we have a number of initiatives listed, and they are to bring the history, heritage, and culture of St. Andrew back and revitalize the community. So we also have environmental stewardship, educational initiatives, and we're also looking at fostering the climbing.
What's the name of the group again?
St. Andrew Community Development Commission, or St. Andrew CDC.
St. Andrew Community Development Commission.
Yes, correct. We take our name very seriously. Yeah. So as part of our group, we are looking at initiatives this year, focusing in November to start, where we will have the St. Andrew Heritage Festival, which encompasses the Culture Day, St. Andrew's Culture Day, and it climaxes with St. Andrew Carnival. And the Culture Day will have a showcase of artisans, a trade show, musical display on the Heritage Festival days. As well, what we're looking to do as well as part of our development for St. Andrew, or our interest in the development of St. Andrew for tourism purposes, is community-based tourism. And we are looking at, or we're creating really the St. Andrew Tourism Master Plan. And as part of our research, we found the Belle Plaine Community Plan. And this was drafted in 2017. It highlights Belle Plaine as a national park, or focusing on Belle Plaine as a national park, and making it a tourist haven for St. Andrew. Repurposing the police station, repurposing the hostel, making it a craft market, making the police station a visitor center, and creating historical paths and heritage paths for visitors coming into St. Andrew. When you leave Morgan Lewis, there's nothing to do between Morgan Lewis and Bathsheba. So what we want to do is ask the government to revisit the Belle Plaine National Plan, where it encompasses showing Belle Plaine as a national park and making it a tourism destination in Barbados.
I entirely agree with you. I've actually spoken to the MP, and I have spoken extensively. We were Bordens. I expect that you'll update us and the country on that. The last time I visited was about 6 weeks ago, and it was coming along very nicely. The gentleman who was honored by the president is in this room, I believe, for his sterling work in making Isolation Cricket Ground the prettiest cricket ground in any part of the Caribbean. Not true, my brother? And I maintain that BTMI and others need to use that as a location for a lot of our regional and international tourism games, because it is the most bucolic existence. For those of you who don't know the word, go and look it up. It is a wonderful word introduced to me by Owen Arthur many years ago. Bucolic. But the bottom line is that then you have the potential also for heritage trails throughout. And then, Rommel, you're doing an excellent job over the years. I know you have a little problem with the crayfish now, but the fact that the crabbing and the crayfishing and bringing the community spirit back together. As a child, I used to be down this side crabbing a lot between here and Bath and Three Houses, and I'm not sure how many young people are engaged in that kind of activity. But above all else, I want to salute you all for the creation of the commission, because it is only when we have the community groups, the sporting groups, the cultural groups, commissions like this, that can truly take the energy of our people and apply it for good purposes, that we will begin to see the kind of social development that we really want to benefit from as a nation.
Yes.
And out of this may come opportunities for others that may lead to livelihood opportunities, may lead to marital opportunities, may lead to work opportunities, all kinds of things. So we need to be able to encourage as much the formation of groups and commissions in order to be able to have a clear purpose of what you're doing and to create opportunities for people to contribute beyond their duty to self, to family, and to their immediate job.
Yes.
And that's how you build a community, that's how we strengthen families, That's how we strengthen the nation. So I salute you on those things.
Yes, thank you. So if anyone is interested in coming on board or being part of the initiatives, we have a mix and mingle on September the 7th at the historic Morgan Lewis. And you can just follow our socials. It's St. Andrew CDC 246_ and come and be a part of the beautiful group. Thank you.
I'd like to endorse her fully and encourage all the people of St. Andrew to play their part. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good night, PM. Good night
Good night.
to Mr. Dugard. Good night to my MP.
I know you can't call your name and address him. Wait, he'll come get your name and everything for the people, please.
Yeah. Good night to everybody in the audience and everybody that's listening. Madam PM, I want to come in. My name is Carlita Andrew, sorry. Hailing from White Hill. Right. I here want to commend Barbados Water Authority. And I want to say this to you personally, Madam PM. They have done a 360 in where White Hill is concerned. But there are persons who are responsible for doing that, and I would love you to acknowledge these persons. I would give you their name personally, who has turned this around. And I would love you to acknowledge
But
these.
you feel free to acknowledge them publicly too.
But I don't want anybody to be victimized. So
Oh, Lord.
to
They
avoid
can't
that,
be victimized for doing good things.
to avoid that, I'm gonna give you the list of the names that I think that they need to be
No
recognized.
problem.
It goes beyond-
I would even be happier if you wrote me a letter with their
will.
names so that I can pass it on and take the appropriate
Right.
action to commend them and congratulate them. But there was nothing wrong with you calling the names because they can't get victimized for good work.
Because I mean, when you don't have water at 4 o'clock and you can call somebody at their home and they answer you, if they are not, I think they need to be recognized. And you know, for years I've been complaining, and it's like, it's not 100% there, but I would say 80% there. It's a drastic improvement. I must hand it to them.
I want to thank you for being willing to highlight the good, because in our society too often people only stand up to complain but do not encourage. If we are to nurture people, we need to encourage as well. So
But I
thank
think you know me to be that type of
I
person.
know, and that's why I'm happy that you've done it.
When it's bad, I speak about the bad, and when it's good, I commend the good.
And reduce it in writing for me. All right?
Yes, I will. This sanitation department, we are having challenges with the garbage pickup because the problem with the truck. I would like you to order 2 trucks for St. Andrew, because every time you call, they're saying that the trucks and the terrain. So I'm begging you to order 2 trucks for St. Andrew, for the St. Andrew and St. Thomas. Got the same trucks that work in St. Andrew, work in St.
Listen,
Thomas.
I hear you. Look, we've been having problems. I spoke to the chairman up to today. The reality is that even the trucks that we had already ordered and paid for, there's a delay in delivery. And that's why you keep hearing me talk about supply chain logistics and the disruption globally. These things find a way of presenting themselves in ways that are inconvenience to us. And I give you the assurance that in addition to the ones already procured, that the government will ensure that the SSA can procure additional trucks. And that's what we're working to do now. I know that there's some other issues that they're seeking to resolve. And believe you me, this is a matter that is engaging our attention fully and will subject to the delivery, because the other thing that I learned in many instances is that particularly with the old Mitsubishi trucks, you would buy the trucks one place, but the back part is manufactured in another continent, and then you have to be able to have the time to put all of them together. That is why I think in the past you saw them get some other ones that were available that were not Mitsubishi, and I've said to them, look, in an ideal world we might want to get electric trucks, but in this case now we need trucks, and buy what you can, and then we will work on the transitioning at the later stage, or look at biofuels as a means of ensuring that there's cleaner and greener energy with respect to the SSA. Okay? So it is going to be still a little rough time, but between what they have, the numbers on the road are better than they were 2 weeks ago. But we have some delays with the ones that were already purchased. Straight talk.
Thank you. The bush in Whitehill is terrible. So, as a resident of Whitehill, you had to drive. My MP would attest to this in the center of the road. So I took the initiative to start a community group where the resident came out, coming out on weekends. The name of the community group is Whitehill Community Group. And we start debushing the area on weekends. We debushing the area. And I want to say publicly thanks to my MP to assist us in like getting water and stuff for the guys on weekend, because there are people that don't work. There's challenges, financial challenges for everybody. But we cleaning from the top of the Nazarene Church right down to St. Saviour's Church. So on weekends,
that's the kind of community spirit that I want to encourage. The government with the best will in the world cannot do everything.
We know that. That's why.
But when you know the Bible tells you that God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Then
right. So I took the initiative, and because we don't even have nowhere to keep meetings. We just beside the road keeping the meeting. The MP could attest to this, and the MP assists us in every way possible he can. And I want to say publicly thanks to him. And
well done, Steph.
Yes, and even in the breakaway where we used to traverse, there's the people still traverse the area because it's a lot shorter, and as you know, the other road is not fully completed yet. So they still traverse it, so there is clean, and we got a light donated for up in there that when the young ladies come at night. Yes, there is.
Progress. There's progress.
I would like you to personally to come and see. Don't tell me you coming and ain't come.
No,
I want to see you.
I can come.
And Mr. Duguay
listen,
too.
if I went when it was bad, you think I can come when it's good?
I want to see you and Mr. Duguay. I don't want no promises. I want to see you and Mr. Duguay
No
to
problem,
come out.
love. We coming.
Mr. Dr. Springer need your support, and I think he's doing a fantastic job. You know, coming from me, is right record. He's doing a fantastic job, and I am beside him all the way. And as I often say, the government can't do everything. My mother always used to say, Lord, rest in your grave. If you don't, the government can't do anything. If you don't help yourself, nobody will not help you. So I took the initiative. I ran it by the residents in the area, and they came out. I was even surprised at the response that I got. And when everybody that jumping at Kadooment there, we was cleaning. The guys were clean, and we were cook, and we would
enjoy.
Yeah, up to Sunday.
Work and enjoy.
Up to Sunday, but at some time we would need some assistance.
Understood.
The gutter and stuff got to clean up, because we don't have the guys using the swords that you have in the house. Whatever tools you got in the backyard and stuff is what we use. Yeah. So we would need some assistance because we don't have all tools that needed. So, but we can do it. We can keep on maintaining it. And this is
Rommel will liaise with us and tell you to supplement what you need with what you are doing.
Yeah, this is not a one-off something, because we vow to maintain it all the time.
Between soil conservation and MTW can supplement what you're doing, and NCC. One of the three can supplement.
So,
okay?
I need to liaison with.
Right here, and
Thank
you will liaise with us.
Thank you.
Okay?
My last thing, Madam PM, this was to go director, Miss Madam Deputy PM, but she's not here. I want to know who is responsible.
Thanks for her absence tonight.
It's okay. I want to know who is responsible.
He is the second man in the ministry, so.
My MP, I'm not picking on you, but you're asking a question generally. I want to know who is responsible for the damages to people's property now in Whitehill with this road construction. When the property got damaged, who is responsible?
I don't know that he can answer that in a vacuum, but let us deal with each situation, because I've learned that when you answer generic questions, you excite expectations, and law doesn't operate like that. Law operates on precise facts. So you let him get the facts, and you can be assured that we will get an opinion. If we are liable, the government answers the cause for its responsibility all the time, and every day we pay it out. In fact, the name of the legislation needs change, and remind me, because it's called the Crown Proceedings Act. So it doesn't even have to go to Parliament, but if we are liable, we pay. If we are not liable, well, then that's a different story. So I would prefer that we get the facts, but I'm not going to encourage generic answers to matters that have liability issues at stake.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. But let Roy know what the issue is, Carlita. And let Roy know what the issue is, and then I'll get the opinions for you. Okay, Roy? Thanks. Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Good evening to the Minister. Good evening to the Prime Minister.
Good evening, Ms. Lowe. How are you? Give the rest your name. Or you want me to say Mary Lowe?
You know
No, but you still got to do it for the record. And the address?
Parish Road, St. Andrew. I'm talking about the transport board bus. I went to the hospital a day. Come pay a taxi $15 and come down bus stand to catch a 1:30 bus. I get a bus at 4:30 and get home after 6 o'clock. You think that's right? Huh? To catch a 1:30 bus to get home to get something
It's not
to eat.
right. I don't know what happened, but it's not right.
Them people down there in the bus stand, and the chauffeurs, it is who in the office, they want getting rid of them inside there. They don't like to send no bus to the showroom. You hear what I tell you? And next day they down there, and I sit down there like I begging for salt about for 2 hours and a half before I get a showroom bus. Before I get a showroom bus. They don't like to send no bus to the showroom, my gentlemen. You hear what I tell you? They don't like to send none. Thursday went by Popular, come out to catch 11:30 bus and get a bus at 1:15. And the sun beating down. Beating down. I pay a tax for 31 years and 8 months. And I shouldn't be getting that. I should get in a bus when I want a bus, not go in a bus stand and sit down like I begging for salt. Huh?
I hear you, Ms. Lowe, and regrettably nobody's here from Transport Board now. But
The player the sick and the men coming out.
No, that's not the case. No, that's not the case. One of them is away and one of them is here. And I'm not sure why they weren't here. Romella said that they were supposed to be. But rest assured, they will account. So you don't have to worry
this
about that.
thing ain't going good last year. When we talk about this year, in next 2 days we get bus good. 2 days. And 2 days. Then the third day, they gone wild. No bus you can't get.
No problem.
That is what
I'm going to ask the Deputy Prime Minister.
But look, you say so I told me nothing ain't doing.
Madam, I am going to ask the Deputy Prime Minister, who is responsible for the Transport Board, to ensure that there is a report on this issue and that action is taken to get the Shuri bus thing going. Apparently the CEO is coming in, so you have to apologize to him now, having said that they don't come here because they're sick. You understand? So you and I both know that that ain't true all the time. So please don't do that, Miss Lowe. Don't do that. That ain't good. That ain't good.
We don't hear
Hold on.
and thank for the
Hold
bus.
on. You stay one side, and when he comes in, because the laws of natural justice require that you don't do it in his absence. Agreed? So we can come back to you. All right? Let the other gentleman speak, and then we come back to you. Yes, sir.
Good night to the head table and the Prime Minister. Ruben City, Shuri Village. Ruben City, Shuri Village. This would be my third parish speech. And I had a concern from the first. And I see at the bottom of the flag here, we listen, we act, and we report. My situation, I only get to number one. We listen. Nothing has been done to the situation. The last time I was there, you told me to go to the National Housing and speak to the minister. I went, I had the audience. Since then, nothing has happened. So I'm just wondering exactly what's happening.
I can't tell you in a vacuum, sir, because you are one of many. So if it is something personal, I would like to suggest again that you come. Where's Roy? Mr. Seeley, see Roy, and let us deal with the matter. Obviously, I'm going to have to get involved myself because I don't know what it is. But I would prefer that you come because I don't take personal matters at the microphone.
I can speak it.
No, I don't do it for nobody. So if it is a personal matter, if you want the assistance, come one side and we'll deal with it. You understand? That's not the kind of country we're running. Okay? So you come, Mr. Seeley, and let me deal with it.
I got a few other points to make, so when I finish,
I'm having difficulty hearing. You're saying?
I said I have a few more points to make, and then I will come to Mr. Morris. You heard that? The garbage and sewage levy.
Sorry?
The garbage and sewage levy.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is being paid. There's persons who are not paying the garbage and sewage levy for some reason. And I feel it's unfair that if you have a water service and you have to pay persons who have water services and are not paying the garbage and sewage levy, something should be done to them.
And we so agree. I hope you remember that during the COVID pandemic, we put a moratorium on cutting off people's services. When the pandemic finished, we put people on notice that if they don't pay, they're at risk of getting the services cut off again. If they belong to the welfare list, then that is a different matter, and welfare will talk to those people. But a lot of people who are not paying are not welfare recipients.
But these people don't belong to any list at all.
And I would only suggest to you, especially having spent most of my day at the Water Authority today, that people will do so at their own risk. Because when you get your water cut off, what you got to do again? In addition to paying the bill, you got to do what?
But if you don't get a bill,
a reconnection fee.
But if you don't get a bill, what do we do?
If you're not getting the bill, then something wrong. And I would have to find out and investigate why you are one of the very, very few who ain't getting the bill.
Or you get a bill. I'm telling you that there are a lot of people out there who have water, who have all the facilities, and they're not paying garbage and sewage. They're not even paying the water bill.
Well, if you know that, then I suggest you bring the names to us and let us deal with them. But don't do it on the microphone because they might sue you. Because you might think you have the right information or call somebody who got a similar name. So you bring the information to us.
I calling the names?
Up to today, we discuss, and you see Dr. Duguid nodding his head. The gentleman there from Water Authority with nodding his head, Greg. We discussed at length today illegal connections to the Barbados Water Authority. Not true? So rest assured. I ain't got nothing to say, you know. I ain't got nothing more to say.
They will be dealt with.
I ain't got nothing more to say. I am not the Barbados Water Authority. All I would do is to tell people that they're playing with their own future and they're putting themselves at risk. That's all I can tell you.
But I only hope that when the BWA do what they have to do, the politicians don't get in the way.
With all due respect, what's happened with this? People is going to pay this, right? What is they got hold up? Tell them what you got hold up in your hand and what you got hold up. A phone. And when you don't pay, what's happened?
You get cut off.
Soft touch. No, soft touch first. and then what? Cut off. When the lights bill don't get paid, what's happened? Oh, and which of the three is the most important for life? Okay, I ain't got no more to say. Thank you.
St. Andrew does not have a resource center. We are talking about getting people to the age of technology and IT and such like. We have a situation at the Ada Costa Irish Primary School where they have a IT lab. And for some reason, it's not being utilized by the Ministry of Community Development or whoever is responsible, so that persons can get exposed to IT training.
You can finally see the Chief Education Officer here. She is a very reasonable lady, and I'm sure that she can have discussions with community development, who are the ones who typically provide the IT resources, the labs, the computer labs, but at the same time, I've made the point over and over, and let's be real. We have schools in every community almost. The schools are open 39 weeks of the year for 5 days a week, and at most for the school from about 7 to about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. And the rest of that time, all of the money that the governments over the years have invested in schools sit down and not be used properly. For the umpteenth time, I'm going to ask that we have community engagement with our school premises. But you see the commission that formed earlier? We need strong community groups, commissions, whatever you want to call them, to be able to help take responsibility for manning these schools and centers outside of the normal times of work that would come 8 to 4, 8 to 5, 8 to 6. And if we can get that, then we can start the process, particularly with the community centers in terms of community divestment, but with respect to the schools, community access. And if we can have community access agreements with groups taking responsibility, then we can do a lot more. Okay?
Definitely.
And particularly with the IT, before when the community technology program started, there used to be big desktops. The truth is now, you can easily have a series of laptops that are locked up, so that when the school is functioning, community development got their own cupboard, and they can go and take out their stuff when it comes time for them to use it in the evening or on a weekend. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So I will hope, Mr. Seeley, we can put that in place so that you will at least smile for that.
Parish Speaks. I wish we had Parish Speaks every week in St. Andrew. If you come down Farley Hill, no bush on the sides of the road. Greenland, the lights working. Shorey Village, the gutters clean. Bell playing. Players clean. So I really hope that it continues after tonight.
I suspect that this week was not the first time it happened, Rommel. You want to speak, please?
Well, for example, Mr. Seeley, I don't know, we would have cleaned Farley Hill weeks ago. So to imply that it was clean because of Parish Speak is not necessarily accurate. We did that weeks ago. Now, whenever we have a Parish Speak, and we've been doing this for every parish, we've been pooling resources. Pooling resources. We've been drawing from
Soil conservation.
from soil, all of the depots within the district with St. Lucie, Highgates and St. Peter, Jerusalem. We've been pulling from St. Thomas. So because we don't have all the resources here in St. Andrew, so we've been pulling on resources just to assist us. And we do that for every parish.
But it looks quite
But it's not sustainable, because if you draw from other parishes, you draw from other districts, then there's no work going on in those other areas. So we can do that for about a week or we can do that for a few days within a week. But we do it because everybody deserves an opportunity to get all of the resources in to come to bear on their issues, whether it be drainage or debushing. We do that for everyone.
But that was meant to be a compliment, not a criticism. So
Sorry?
I like how the place look.
No, it's very, actually, I drove through today, I was very impressed
To Mr. Seeley though, because I think Mr. Seeley, we're going to do these things, right? But I need to remind this country, lest we forget, that we have gone through $1 billion structural adjustments in the last 5 years. Now, what does that mean? That it means that everything that you may want to do cannot be done at the same time. And I'm not going to sit here now or in any of the meetings before or in any of the meetings in future and encourage people to believe that the expectations that are unreal can be met. We are going to be reasonable. We're going to do as much as we can. But remember what we came in and found. And then when we thought we were going to turn the corner, what happened in March 2020, Skipper? Something called COVID.
Shut down.
And the irony is that we're having a resurgence of COVID now again too, which means that we've got to divert resources to be able to deal with that in circumstances where we weren't necessarily expecting to do so. So I hear you, sir, but I know that as a man of some considerable experience, everything that you have wanted to do in life, you've not always been able to do in the timelines that you would like to do them in the way that you would like to do it. And that those who look on or depend on you may have sometimes to receive an explanation that there are other priorities that have to be met and not just those that one or two groups or areas or geographical areas may want to have. And part and parcel, people ask me, why you continue to do Parish Speaks? Because people can get up and talk this and talk that. I do it because it is our way of hearing in an unfiltered manner. But secondly, it is our way of explaining to people what is potentially probable, possible, and realistic. Because expenditure is either essential, highly desirable, or optional. The optional expenditure may not always get on at all. In fact, it might be 2-3 years before it gets on. The one that is highly desirable is something that we really want to see bad. But I can't bring that before I pay for things that are essential, like wages, like debt, like medicine, like dealing with the basic things with the roads, getting a basic framework for almost all of the other services. So I want us to be sensitive to that, because if not, the young people are going to grow up believing that because something is to happen, it is to happen regardless of whether you got resources, regardless of what your priorities are, regardless of what other people may need who have a greater need than you. So I want us to be very clear, because it looks sweet, but equally, it is life. And in the world in which we live now, look and see what's happening in the US, look and see what's happening in Britain, look and see what's happening in France, look and see what's happening all over. So that we need to be able to walk a line, doing as much good as we can for as many people as we can across many areas. And that is why we've made the point that in the first few years there were critical things that were absolutely essential. We've gotten into the habit now of doing some of the highly desirable things, and on occasion 1 or 2 optional things. But at the end of the day, to carry a whole society with different demographics, different interests, different needs, and to grow the economy. Because without cash, how are you going to care? Other than to drop a tear. You understand? Without cash, how are you going to care? So that the reality is we have now had 13 straight quarters of growth, which sound esoteric to most people, but it wasn't esoteric when the last government wasn't having it, and they couldn't buy buses, they couldn't buy garbage trucks, they couldn't do anything at all. So that instead of worrying about one parish at risk, or 2 or 3, almost the whole island was at risk. So I want, Mr. Seeley, for you to help me, help the country. And I'm saying to you that for that to happen, then it means that we, yes, continue to aspire to be better each time, but equally recognize that there must be a level of realism in what we are doing and what we can do and how we do it. Yeah?
My final point, I would have mentioned the last time about the beekeeping project. I realize now that the area, somebody like I've gotten a license either to grow medical or some other kind of stuff out there. So that probably we have to go somebody else now and look to see what's happening.
There may be other areas, but I'm not sure the location or the activity. But if you speak to Roy, as I said, government has a considerable amount of land. We've made it a habit of leasing land to people to do farming, not just in the Scotland district, but all over the country. And the truth is, as I said, we have a beekeeping program that the Ministry of Agriculture had launched some time back, Roy. I think under the 2 previous chief agricultural officers ago, and in 2019 or somewhere around there. And we want to be able to continue to encourage it, because honey doesn't spoil. It's the one thing that don't spoil. You understand? So,
But to your knowledge, any licenses to plant medical marijuana has been given for St. Andrew?
I have no idea. I can't tell you offhand. I know that is Ministry of Agriculture here? Are you aware? No, they're not aware, but we can find out for you, sir.
Thank you.
Hold on. Roy wants to tell you that there's a meeting here on the 20th of August for agricultural projects. Go ahead.
Yes, on August 20th here at the Alleyne School, the Ministry of Agriculture Soil Conservation Unit is going to have a town hall meeting to discuss with residents projects that they have for farming in the area, or to hear from residents what they would like. So if you come to the school here on the 20th, you should get a chance to be able to pitch your own project.
Ms. Lowe, come back. Mr. Wharton is here. Thanks. Fabian, thank you. Ms. Lowe has been complaining for the 2nd year about the Shorey Village buses. She said y'all corrected it last year for a little bit, and then it stopped again. So if you can just help us with an answer to that. She said that up to this week she had to wait over an hour and a half for a bus, and she gave a previous time, which she did not tell us when it was, that it took her from 1:30 to 6 p.m. to get from town home. Right, Ms. Lowe? Does that adequately represent what you said?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to ask Mr. Wharton, because we heard you last year, we heard you this year, Mr. Wharton, Shorey Village, and the other transport issues for St. Andrew. Thank you. And bearing in mind that we do have buses coming in about 6 months' time, it may not be an immediate solution to you, but like with the trucks and everything else, the lead time in order to be able to buy these things, nobody got equipment, nor buses, nor pumps sitting down waiting anymore, and you have to be able to put down the money and then get the time. In this instance, it'll be predominantly a donation, although we will buy some too. And then up to today, we had to talk to Water Authority about keeping things in stock because of that complete change in people holding parts or pieces of equipment or vehicles. Please.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you, Prime Minister. My apologies for being late. I was actually called at the board dealing with a matter. St. Andrew is one of those speaks that I make sure I come to, because I come down here regularly. I'll be back down here next week for crabs. But I want to say to you and everybody that's listening in St. Andrew and the entire island, is that first and foremost, the board has been forced to prioritize the way it delivers its service. Number 1 priority, schools. Number 2 priority, rural Barbados and all routes where there's no other form of PSVs on that route. So in other words, to put it in layman terms, where they ain't got the minibuses and ZRs, the only mode of transportation is the transport board. And then thirdly, rural Barbados that also has PSVs, and 4th, all other routes. Right? Let me start by saying that.
Is school
All other routes afterwards.
not crossing you? Is school and open, school shut? And we should get them bus properly.
No, ma'am, that's not what I'm saying. I'm going to address your issue one by one. Yeah? What we have done is that we have dedicated significant resources to St. Andrew. One by force and one as a result of customer satisfaction. And I should say customer dissatisfaction, right? By force meaning you are all aware we have had bridges in St. Andrew which are no longer usable. So that impacted upon services at Shuri Village, which resulted in us using resources to put in a backstairs service, etc., right, to get people in, so that we don't have, because when we first did it, the Shuri Village bus came into backstairs, turned around, came all the way down to Whitehill, turned around, and went all the way back up, and we recognized that that took almost an hour. With that adding a time on the running time on the bus that was not acceptable. So we came up with another solution, which was to move people at the top of the hill. We dealt with that. That was not working well. The residents complained. It was not cohesive enough. So we determined that we were putting a backstairs service. We have St. Andrew Church. So if you're in, my memory tells me that you are in the Lakes area, if my memory is right. Because you reside in the Lakes area? Right. My memory is good then, on that point. So you would have access from the St. Andrew Church. You have you're further down.
No, not St. Andrew Church.
Which one you in? You only have access from Shuri, so you know where you are exactly in Lakes then. So you only have access for the Shuri Village bus. The Shuri Village bus, as you know, comes on the half hour. You are also aware, half hour meaning half hour, every hour is the scheduled service. So in other words, it's on the 12:30, 1:32, 33, 30. Not saying, just give me a minute. Not saying that is what happens, right? That is a scheduled service. Now, what you must recognize.
What you're saying, it comes on the half hour every
12:30,
hour. Every hour.
1:30, yes.
So
every
one
hour.
per hour, but on the half hour.
Correct. And in between there, we have the St. Andrew Church, and we have also now extended the Sturges to take some pressure off to get people out. So, I just explaining something. It's a total. I know that everybody wants what they want, but we have to understand the total scenario that the board is faced with, to understand where you may encounter a challenge sometimes and what we are doing to address it. So I'm asking you to bear with me to explain, right? So normally during school time, there will be challenges between 2 o'clock-ish, because we are sending the resources into the Alleyne school, right? And if you remember, Alleyne school also has some challenges. We went in there, we did a lot of work. We recognized that some of our timings were bad. We recognized the units we were using were not the best. So we placed all the electric buses and the best of our diesel fleet, which are the retrofit buses, into the school. Alleyne school is totally fixed. We spent a lot of time. I myself personally sat down unknown to my staff and watched the operation. And by doing that, we start to pick up little issues that needed to be corrected, and we did that. What happens now, though, particularly at this time of the year, you are also going to get some impacts, because all of the electric buses that we have, except the 2 that came in January, February, arrived in Barbados between July and September, in that range, which means it's the time for inspection. What we have to do is strategically pull buses out in order to make sure that when we get back into September, we can maintain the level of service that we have. So you may have a situation, and it doesn't happen every day, you may have a situation on an on-off occasion where you may attempt, because we are sending certain types of vehicles into St. Andrew, where you may attempt to board a bus at 1:30. If you get in the terminal at, say, 20 minutes to 2 and you miss the 1:30, there is a high probability you may not get the 2:30, but more likely than not, you will get the 3:30. That is what happens. You will have, I am not saying to you it's going to happen every single day without fail, but I am saying to you that is what happens as per the norm. So I cannot tell you what your experience was, but I'm just explaining to you how this happens. The other thing is that because of the distance from Bridgetown to St. Andrew, where you have, if you have any issues in terms of the bus If the bus breaks down, the bus has a fault, the electric buses have like what we call faults. So they're highly computerized. If it's a fault, to protect the $700,000 investment that the government has placed in each bus, the driver would not move that bus if a fault code comes up. So the time it takes between Bridgetown into St. Andrew or anywhere on that route to fix that problem, to replace the unit, is also expensive when compared to other routes. So these are the little nuances that we have to deal with on a daily basis in order to service St. Andrew.
So when the additional buses come,
Correct. So I was about to say that is that I want to put this in context. I know the PM is saying all the time about the additional buses, but I think from a layman's point, let me break this down to you to make you understand something at the entire country. Because we need to get to a point where people clearly understand what the challenges are at the board, what we have been doing to address them, and the fact that they will continue, they will get better marginally, and I can tell you why. When I came to the transport board, they were all diesel buses. They weren't good. They were about 40, 45, and the majority of them wasn't working. We managed by the then minister and Minister Dugade, we put together some projects in order to fix these buses. It was a considerable sum of money, 3 million one way, another 3 million next way. The government has thrown a lot of money into getting buses back on the road. But the reality of the situation is the fleet is not big enough in order to maintain the types of service levels that we would like to see. Don't feel that I would not like to hear Carlita calling me to tell me, ask me if I alright and how's my children, instead of calling me and telling me that she ain't getting a bus, or you coming to the Parish Speaks to God to complain. But what I'm saying to you is that the reality of the situation in the country is that there are limited resources, and when some of those resources fall out, it makes life 3 times worse than it actually should be under the normal mode of operation of operating a bus company. Right? And I say that to you to say the government brought 59 electric buses. Right? And even at 59 buses, with the subsidization of the TAP, right, which is another 30, 40 per day, because they are 102 strong, but any given day, you're looking at maybe 40 of them on the road, because they too are having challenges getting parts. They too are getting the same challenges that we are having with our diesel fleet in terms of getting parts quickly. So it is a combination of things. But I will say to you, ma'am, and I know it may not appease you, but I will tell you as the head of the transport board, an extraordinary amount of resources has been poured into St. Andrew in particular, to the extent that I went to St. Lucie and the people wanted my head. Because I told them in all uncertain terms what we were faced with in St. Andrew, and that we took some of their resources to accommodate down here. Because it's a juggling fact. And I had to take the blows in St. Lucie, because I know from a strategic standpoint, from an operational standpoint, we could not leave the people in St. Andrew with the type of service that existed at the time, which is that you're taking 2.5 hours leaving town to get to Shuri Village. So those adjustments, everywhere today, let's say today the bridge was to open, MP, we would easily have another 3 Thompson Bridge, have another 3 buses at our disposal. Plus, we will have another Hino that can go into Sturgis, because we use Hinos in the White Hill to go to White Hill. And then that small little movement, you will be surprised to see how quickly that changed your experience.
But let me tell you
Before you get there, Ms. Lowe, I'd like to find out when the bridges are going to open, because there are 2 things that will bring relief. One, the opening of the bridge, releasing the buses that you heard the CEO speak about. And then secondly, when the additional buses come, probably early next year, you understand? So that those things will happen. But I want to remind you, as he spoke, we spent almost $45 million in the electric buses alone. We then turn around and spend close to what? 15 million, more than 15 million on the powertrain buses, which is putting in basically new engines into the old diesel buses. You understand? So that if you wasn't coming from so far down, I would be higher up. If I empty this bottle and I got to fill it back up from the very bottom, it can take me long to get back to the top. And we get in there. But there are issues and challenges. You heard Santia speaking here last year and remind us that the assessment that we did on the bridges, nobody did any work on bridges in Barbados, Jason, for how long? How many decades? About 50 years? So that, Ms. Lowe, I would have liked the little pressure put on the rest that gone along. Because if they had done that, and we're going to come to a whole host of things, are cleaning up bridges, are cleaning up pensions. There are a whole host of government entities that ain't paid pensions for 30 years or 40 years. We cleaning up. All we doing, as I feel as though we are a vacuum cleaner sometimes. But I want us to also recognize that with calm assurance, step by step, we are going to get there. And that year by year, we're trying to make sure that it is better. If there are still issues, as Fabian has tried to explain to you very calmly, know that our interest is to get it. And I was present when the people of St. Lucie cursed him the night in January.
But why me? If I left the hospital at 1 o'clock, you see, pay a taxi $15 to get down the bus stand to catch a 1:30 bus, and then get a bus not before 4:30, and bus get me home, you could well say 5 past 6. You think that is right? Huh?
But that's exactly what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying to you.
And look,
I'm not saying to you that.
You thought enough already, you will. One day I did in the bus, want a bus to get home.
You got to speak into the microphone.
One day I did in the bus, want a bus to get home. I gone out there and asked the people in Princess Alice down there about the bus. 2 buses is down there. She said, the men got none. I said, what I mean, the men got none and 2 buses down there. A gentleman did a talk and he hear my mouth. He said, lady, what problem? I said, look out there, so number 7, and you going to see the people that they are waiting for the Shuri bus. He said there is a lot of people in truth. And she going to tell me they ain't got no bus. A gentleman tell she send a bus to Shuri. This bus got to hold herself. And when it going to hold herself, it only got 2 bodies in it. You hear what I tell you? 2 bodies. Or something 1. Something 2 or 1 body. A gentleman tell she send a bus to a gentleman tell she send a bus to Shuri. And I get in the same time out there.
Did she send it?
She had to send it.
Good. But this happened recently?
Late last year.
Okay. And that's what I figured.
And I get in the bus out there. You can't get in out there. I saw all you gotta do come and take me out. All you got to do
but I think you see you reported something that happened late last year. Fabian is trying to deal with
it. But it going on this year too.
But that's why I ask you. But I ask you that.
Going on this year.
But I just ask you.
And you may I stand.
With all due respect,
and a
madam,
bus
you can't come out just like that. They got others in front of you.
From 1:30 till 4:30.
Okay, we hear you, Ms. Lowe, but we also know it's 20 past 8, and I got public servants here. And we've heard you. It's the same point over and over. I empathize. I hear you loud and clear. And more importantly, Fabian has heard you. In fairness to him, he has explained, and I know that he got licks in St. Lucie for it. Because in St. Lucie, he admitted taking buses off the service in St. Lucie, remember, Roy? And bringing them to the people of St. Andrew. Sometimes in life, and that's why I say we got to bring our experience to bear. I ain't got as much experience as you, but what I do know is that every day the sun don't shine, and every day the rain don't fall. And what we have is a management at the transport board that is trying their best to bring it about. Now, and to bring the relief to you. If they still have problems with dispatching buses, that is something Fabian can deal with. Okay? We've explained to you that in this time of the year, because they're going to be registering and inspecting the buses, you're going to get a diminution every day because they're going to send them up at the licensing authority. With respect to the issue of the additional ones coming, we've told you that just hold tight and you can get more service there. And the bigger issue, that's why I asked, and I'd like MTW to tell us, what is the situation with the bridges, because little by little we're trying to fix the bridges. Because, was Andrew, you gone? You talked about all of the water courses, and the mere fact that St. Andrew encircled with water courses mean that you more than any other parish dependent on the bridges being fixed.
And
So what we had was multiple problems coming from multiple directions and multiple ignoring of the parish for way too long. And that is in spite of the efforts of the last member of parliament, who, to his credit, asked over and over and over for help under previous administrations, and regrettably, the most help that has been brought to fixing bridges has been in the last few years. Not true? Rommel? MTW, you want to speak?
And look,
Well,
Baxter's Bridges get buses twice before we get one.
But he's hearing you. He's hearing you.
I talking about the same situation.
No,
but
no,
they said
no. You let the others come first, ma'am. You can still talk after. But there are others in the line before you. All right?
All right. Relative to the bridges in St. Andrew, currently we have a $100 million US project ongoing. We have the Chinese who are the main contractor. We are currently reviewing a number of bridges. They are under design at the present moment. One of the bridges we have material on is being shipped to Barbados, which should be arriving in September of this year. So we can start it's at Bruceville. That bridge is to start sometime later on this year as well. But we have a number of bridges which we're looking
What's
at.
the timelines for them too, Jason? Because it's not only when they're starting. There were some you were working on. Are those finishing? And then the ones that are to start, how long are those likely to last for? Because what you need to do is give people reasonable expectations so that people can plan out their affairs.
Well, to be honest, all of the other bridges, like, okay, Bruceville, the design is done, so that is to start this year. There's Babylon Road Bridge designs. All the rest of the bridges are still being designed. Babylon Road, as I said, Babylon Road Bridge, Mason Bottom, St. Simon's, Trail Path, and Dark Hole. Those bridges are all ongoing. Those are the priority bridges that we're looking at. But there's some other bridges that we also have to design, like Bawden's Bridge and some other locations. Can't remember all of them right now, but all are being designed. They're going to take, in terms of construction, they're going to take probably at least a year to construct, and that's where we are right now.
That is after the designs have been done and the tenders have gone out. So that just because the design is done doesn't mean the bridge can start tomorrow, because you got to go to tender to find out who's the contractor that can build it. You understand? Go ahead,
Let me
Norman.
just speak to, I'm going to speak to the bridges.
Thank you, Jason.
The three bridges that were closed in St. Andrew recently. But I just want to respond to what was discussed between Ms. Law and Fabian. And Fabian, I respect what you're doing. I understand what you're saying. But I believe part of my role as MP for St. Andrew is to bring the situation as it appears on the ground. And the situation on the ground may not necessarily be the situation that you're familiar with. Because even as we speak, there are persons in the bus stand waiting for a bus, watching you, listening to you. And there's been no bus for the past 2 hours, even as we speak. So the situation is real. I wanted to share that here, that sometimes it may be human folly. We know we have issues with the buses. We know we have issues with the shortage of buses, both in TAP program and in our own fleet. But sometimes it may very well be human folly. And I think that is what most people in St. Andrew believe. That is human folly that's resulted in people in this part of Barbados suffering for so long. And that is what we have to fix. You can fix the roster, fix the schedule, but we have to fix the human folly that occurs in that bus stand, not those two bus stands every week. Now, having said that, let me just
I believe that the MP has just volunteered himself to ensure that as part of the portfolio of transport in which he's found, that he will help solve the human folly.
Now, the bridges in St. Andrew. We have had 3 bridges that were closed recently. It was the Swans Bridge, it was the Baxter's Bridge, and it was the Swans Bridge, Baxter's Bridge, and Borden's Bridge. And we have put measures in place to ensure that commuters are not inconvenienced by the closure of the Baxter's Bridge. It has no impact on the bus or commuters. Swans Bridge, which was the last one that was recently closed off, that bridge has been reopened and persons are now free to use that bridge. So it leaves just one bridge in St. Andrew that is closed right now, which is the Bruceville or the Baxter's Bridge. And what we have done, we have put a link road so that persons who are driving can get in and out of that part of St. Andrew with ease. It was a mud road. Then we upgraded it to a mar road. And then we further upgraded it to a Barber Green or paved road. So that road is now in use. So persons are using that road. Of course, the buses are not using that road, so you will still have the issue with the bus. But that bridge is scheduled to start. We are waiting approval of the method statement as well as the design for the footpath. Why we have not demolished the bridges yet is that we do not want to create a situation where persons do not have access from Baxter's to Bruceville. We could demolish the bridge right now, and we can start when the bridge that we have imported from overseas comes on September 11, which is the date that it is slated to come. We can do that. But then persons will not be able to walk across the bridge as they're doing now. So we are holding on the demolition of the bridge until such time as we know that bridge is the bridge deck is on Alleyne, which should be within another 4 weeks or so. And then we could commence work on the demolition and the civil works as it relates to the footpath and the actual reconstruction of that bridge. I cannot give you a timeline because one thing we have learned in the Scotland district is that anything that can go wrong tends to go wrong. If it's not the weather, it might be the geology of the Scotland district where we have challenges with the soil type. We have the fact that there's no rock in this part of St. Andrew, this part of Barbados, there's no rock. There's absolutely no rock. So we have to dig until we can find hard or firm soil. And that is a challenge in itself. So building a bridge in St. Andrew is far more difficult than building a bridge in, say, St. Michael or St. Peter, or any other parish in Barbados for that matter. So that's what sometimes you see it's taking long. It's not taking long because we are lagging. It's taking long because we are doing all the necessary preparation work to ensure that everything is in place for the roads, the bridges to be built and built safely and built properly. But rest assured, we have worked on 2 of those bridges to ensure that they can be used, and we are doing our utmost in the ministry to ensure that the 3rd bridge can be used and can be back into use maybe as early as next year. Our date that we have is March of 2025. We hope to complete it before then. March of 2025. But we are hoping to finish it before then.
So everybody is aware, and that is just the start of a whole process to deal with the additional bridges going forward. Okay? Who's next? Thank you.
Hi, good night. My name is Michelle Springer.
I just wanted to assure the MP for the area, I don't know which service he's referring to, but I am in contact with the terminal. There has been a 6:30 bus to Shorey, and that is BM30. My staff are also watching, so there is a 7:30 bus that departed at 7:30, that is BM125. And the 8:30 bus to Shorey at the moment is delayed by about 15 minutes. Thanks.
Was referring to St. Andrew's Church bus though, but thank you for the update.
Thank you. Where do you live, ma'am?
Babylon Road, St. Andrew.
Babylon Road. Continue, thanks.
First, I'd like to say thank you to the government MP for the works that are being done. Tip it like this. Can you hear me better now? Yeah, okay. I would like to thank the government, the MP, for the works that are being done, the road works that are being done throughout the constituency. We're really grateful for that. I have a few questions, not necessarily St. Andrew, but still would affect us. My first question is in relation to public sector reform. I wanted to have an idea as to the government's approach to public sector reform, and the re-engineering and realignment of government business, even in respect of the laws, human resource element, and those areas. My next point would have been in relation to trade. I'm a bit of an agriculture farmer girl also, and so I was, for me, I wanted to have an understanding about the trade of produce outside of Barbados. How do we get our goods, our local produce, on the international market for sale, even through maybe food technology, or the development of food technology where our goods can be exported to across the globe. For St. Andrew, my thoughts are about having a marketplace, within our community, a farmer's market. And finally, my last point would have been in relation to our young persons having access. I would have raised this at a branch meeting, but our young persons having access to swimming, and maybe even, as the minister would have said, a development of like what's at the gymnasium in our neck of the woods, for our young people to be able to have access to those type of facilities. And those are my questions.
There's a lot of stuff, and some of it we can answer here, some of it I can point you in directions, because the information is available, but I'm conscious of the time as well. With respect to public sector reform, we're continuing. Look, the Barbados Public Service is a large entity that a lot of its laws, a lot of its systems have been inherited, and in many instances are even more than 50, 60, 70 years old. And we've tried to bring what I call the re-engineering approaches effectively to deconstruct and reconstruct. What is the public policy you're trying to achieve? What's the public mischief that is going to be necessary for you to note, to avoid? How can you use technology to make it more efficient? Instead of writing everything down in a book, can you put it in a spreadsheet that's searchable, that can give you data in no time, and with AI that's available, perhaps even more going forward in terms of more efficiencies there. And then in every change, there's a winner and there's a loser. And therefore, you need to be able to look and see who is going to lose and how you can mitigate against the losses that a person may have in there. How many of you remember that the old people would tell you that there used to be a company called Goddard's Ice Company? And Goddard's Ice Company would provide ice when the majority of households in Barbados did not have access to electricity or refrigerators. Once people got access to that, there was no need for Goddard's Ice Company in the same way again. I make this point to say, let's take certificates of character. When we first came to office, somebody offered a person a job. They're gone to get the certificate of character. They were waiting 6 weeks, Colin, 8 weeks, because literally they had to go through, the police had to go through all of these laborious index cards and be able to go through and find the cards first and then write it up, etc. From the time we digitized it, you can get those back in no time at all. Today, I know CIBC, for example, met with all of the government welfare departments and the court systems and others because for people who have no bank accounts, and regrettably we still have a few people who have no ID cards, in the absence of the bank account and the ID card, and you have to give them money from government, we're trying not to give people cash because that makes them a victim, or checks don't make no sense because they ain't got no bank account. So we now have these digital cards that will come out, and they're now trying them out. The family unit, the household mitigation unit, for example, during COVID was helping people with a whole host of stuff. We now can load up these cards as of today, preload it, and give them to people so that they can move forward. One of the areas that has been of concern to me, and once again, remember I told you the difference between essential expenditure and highly desirable. We had to put off doing the human resource management information system before, and we've only just started to be able to deal with it as part of the I forget the name of the program, Cloud Suite program that government exists to do its payments now. So that process has started, but it's going to take some time because you are trying to deal with how many thousands of employees. The bottom line is that this will go more smoothly where each ministry, each department, and each agency takes the time to deconstruct, reconstruct, determine whether there needs to be changes in the law or in the policies or how they help people. A lot more people now pay digitally rather than lining up in lines. And we look forward to the days when the majority of people can do that rather than having to spend time to get down to a department or pay to get a bus to get to a department, stand up in a line and have to wait. So all of these things we're doing. But public sector reform also goes to succession planning and training. And we have not done as well a job as I believe we can as a country, particularly given the fact that our population is declining. So that there are a number of areas, William and Rommel and the others, Colin can tell you, in particular Colin, because he's in Minister of Labor, where there are a serious shortage of skills in this country. And that's why we try to do the Construction Gateway program. That might be at the lower level, but the truth is that we still have a shortage of engineers, a shortage of project managers, a shortage of quantity surveyors, a shortage of people dealing with matters pertaining to the regulation of electricity, matters pertaining to aspects of very technical areas in government. And then the problem is that because there is a shortage, if people can get a corresponding job in the private sector or in regional entities that pay much more, it compounds the shortage. Not true? And we've seen the shortage in terms of nursing as an area where people train, but if they can get opportunities overseas and be paid more, some of them decide to go, not all. But we have to come to the realization that we have to train with a view that there will be an exodus of people all the time, and at the same time we got to bring in the skills to offset the exodus so that there are people here. Minister Blackman can tell you that if you go across other parts of the world, he was our ambassador in Geneva and worked extensively with us in opening up our relationships with Africa. We are going to have to find the skills to bridge the gap in many areas because we don't have them. And it's not even that. Even if some people had not emigrated, it's that the population base is small for the complexity of governance that we have. And therefore, not everything that you're going to need, you're going to be able to find here. If Singapore did not open up to bring in people, they would not be where they are today. Short answer. With respect to the question of exporting of food and opportunities, one of the things that the government did, and this is the point when I said that highly desirable, was being able for us to make an investment to allow multiple people in Barbados who depend on food processing and agro-processing to be able to move to the next level and secure a living. So we did the plant at Newton, the food lab, which can export to the US, and for which we're waiting on HACCP certification, I hope, before the end of the year. That means that people making pepper sauces or jams, or people who just want to cut up and freeze and sell, that they're in a better position to do, because instead of having to go and buy the equipment, they can micro lease, which simply means that I can go and lease the equipment for the 2 or 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours I need it, and I ain't coming back again for another month, 6 weeks, because I ain't got no produce or product to do. But if I have to go and buy that equipment for hundreds of thousands of dollars and my revenue base is small, I will never make it. Now, why is that important? You heard me talk about permission to export to the US. The Food and Drug Administration gave that lab, certified that lab as being capable of exporting produce. So any Barbadian who goes up there and uses it and follows the right processes, they're in a position now to look at being able to export once you have a market up there. By the same token, Export Barbados is looking to aggregate, to collect, because it don't make no sense everybody got a different brand. So you know the company Grace Candy, you go in the supermarket, you see Grace Candy products. You know that Grace Candy don't grow nothing. Really. So they buy from you, aggregate everything, bring it all together, process it, and put it under a single brand. And that is where we're trying to get more and more of our farmers to agree to be able to enter contract buying arrangements, so that that 4-letter word, glut, G-L-U-T, can be removed from our language, because we have the pack house already at Spencer's. We're looking at the possibility of other pack houses, and we're also looking at the fact that you can access chilled areas even now, because the private sector has chilled areas that we can access to be able to keep some of our produce fresh and ready for thing. So where is Barbados' competitive advantage in exports? We don't have to do everything here. We may be able to import some, we grow some. But Barbados has, to the UK, almost 30 flights a week. Panama doesn't even have a single flight to London. So immediately, those cargo holds, other than the suitcases, going back up what? Empty. And therefore, perishables can be literally exported. There was a time when I was a student in London, you go to Selfridges, they had a trademark sweet potatoes and a next trademark Barbadian sweet potatoes. And you had to pay more money for the Barbadian sweet potatoes than you had to pay for the ordinary sweet potatoes. There are people trying to do it with breadfruits now. The problem that we have in many instances is that we do not have sufficient supply to be able to guarantee the market. So what do you do if I don't got all at me, William, what you can do? Buy from you and buy from you and buy from you and buy from you, and you happen to be overseas. So I ain't only buying from Barbados, but so long as you can meet the phytosanitary issues, you can aggregate all the produce you need, whether from St. Vincent, Dominica, Barbados, Brazil, wherever, and supply the market. But what has to happen is that we have to get out of our comfort zone to be able to go on that route. Our problems with agriculture will be challenged a bit, but not insuperable, not inconquerable, challenged by the climate issues. So one part of the year you got a drought, and the next part of the year you got what? More rain than you want, and more rain means pests and other things apart from the immediate consequences of flooding. So we are also going to have to find ways where, yes, we continue with open field agriculture, but more and more people will also have a percentage of what they do will have to be probably in greenhouse type facilities in order to get it. As it relates to the swimming, once again, that's one of the areas that I would like to be able to ensure that before 2030, that we have enough, we grow this economy enough that we can afford to make sure that every Barbadian school child can be taught how to swim. You cannot live on an island and not be able to swim. We need to be able to allow our children to swim. Mercifully, we don't hear about as many drownings. Let me get some wood to knock fast of school children as we've heard in the past. But I believe Mr. Bascom is here from the Sports Council. They have an aggressive program with others in the schools, but we can go even more. And I would like to believe that the St. Andrew Development Commission, Community Development Commission, where are you? that these are the kinds of projects that you can put together without having to wait only on the Sports Council, and that where government can meet you halfway, we will meet you halfway. But I want to see more effort on the part of communities bringing these things together. What am I missing? The farmers market, my man, that is work for a member of parliament to do. So I expect you to get a farmers market at Belle Plaine going for the people who are in this parish. And why not? When you go in the supermarket, the same produce that you could get at a fraction in the farmers market, selling at 2 and 3 times the amount in the supermarket. Not true? And for years, our parents and grandparents know what it is to get in the market and buy the produce and get the other stuff that they need from the supermarket. Not true? I think I covered all your issues, I believe. Thank you very much, Ms. Springer. Yeah, William, take this.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good night. My name is Hugh Wooding. I'm from Isolation Road, Belle Plaine, St. Andrew.
Isolation Road, Hugh Wooding?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Wooding.
Well, I have a problem with the road coming down Fardy Hill. Basically, by the cut rock coming down, there has been like 7 crashes. Transport Board has lost an electric bus. Sanitation Authority has lost an employee, lost a truck. And the road is currently sinking in that area. And Ministry of Transport and Works are not doing anything about it. And if you look at the crash bars on both sides of the road, they're kindly ripped off. And something needs to do with it. The contractor worked on that road over a year and a half ago, and that road shouldn't be sinking.
All right, let me ask Mr. Bowen to come up and respond. He is here with the Farley Hill Road. But this is a road that we've recently done under the program.
A year and a half ago,
Year and a half.
COA did the reconstruction of the road, and the road is sinking.
Longer than that.
And if you don't know where you're going, the vehicle is going to go airborne.
Okay. Mr. Bowen?
Yeah, I even saw, on my way down, I saw the descent that you spoke of. So that's something that we will have a look at urgently, because I noticed the descent on my way down in truth.
It should have been looked at a long time ago. Somebody lost their life from sanitation authorities, about 3 or 4 sand trucks lost. They should be now looking into. This should be done ever since.
Definitely, I do agree with you, and we definitely will have a urgent look at it as soon as possible, all right?
Okay.
Okay.
I have another problem with one of the government departments. I tried everything, and every time I call, I'm just getting a run around. I need some advice. Where should I go from here?
A personal problem?
It's not quite a personal problem, Jack. The vehicles are driving over my property. They dump stuff on my land.
Okay. So, Mr. Morris, you go and see Mr. Morris, and he will take that information and follow up with the relevant departments for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And a very, very popular name. You wouldn't. Yes, ma'am. You might want to pull the microphone down a bit.
Thank you. My name is Gretchen Devenish.
I didn't hear Rachel.
Gretchen Devenish.
Devenish.
Yes.
And of which part?
Shore Village.
Go ahead.
I'm here to speak about the road, the Shore Tenant Road actually. That is really terrible. I am suffering with a bad hip and also a knee. And I think it was Monday. After the rain, I was coming down that gap and I almost fell. It is very, very mossy. The road is in dire need of repairs, can't remember his name. Mr. Springer. Mm-hmm. Yes. So that is the reason why I'm here.
Isn't that one of the roads on the Complant program? That's a side road.
It is? Pardon? But I heard you spoke about the double lane. Then you went on to not Farley Hill, Cherry Tree Hill, and you didn't mention my road. And that road is 22 years now that road hasn't been repaired. For my lifetime, I started repair twice. And I remember you saying to me, it's a tenantry road, so that's why I'm here. I don't want to fall coming down that road. Right now, I have to walk with a light and 2 pairs of shoes to get in here. It's horrible.
Right, so the roads that, the main road was done under the compliant program, but the tenantry roads will be done under a separate program. But I have identified that road as one of the roads that we're gonna repair.
Really? It's a cat road.
Mm. Are you referring to the, yes, so.
It's a cat road. It's horrible. It's terrible. You need to come and have a walk and see what it's like.
I'm familiar with the road. I know the road, yes.
You are familiar?
Yeah, I know the road.
Okay. This is why I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to have a broken leg at this age. I want to enjoy my retirement time.
We're hearing you for sure, and Dr. Springer will pay attention. And as you said, he's have it listed as one of the roads on one of the programs, and we will get to it for you.
Please, thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. And let me just say, Ms. Devonish, that there are lots of roads all across Barbados that have similar issues, and we're working. Some people, I agree, but some people have no road at all, and you would appreciate that. And what we're trying to do is systematically work through getting all the roads done. And also in some areas where they had no roads at all, we used a lot of the mill and pave stuff and put that down, roll it, and then we put the emulsion on top of it, because there's some people, although yours is bad, and I accept that, there's some that are even worse, and we're systematically trying to get them done. But you see what has happened, as the Prime Minister said, when you start from zero, it takes a lot to catch up. So we've been playing the catch-up game, and we are making an impact on the roads, because everybody would agree that the accelerated mill and pave program has been paying dividends. So that has impacted. But now it means that the expectation for the minor roads is higher, and we'll work on it for you. All right. They're not going to hear you, but I thank you. Thank you, Ms. Devonish. Yes, sir. Your name?
Hi, good night. My name is Richard Brooker.
Brooker?
Brooker, yeah.
Brooker.
St. Simon, St. Andrew. All right, so basically, my reason for speaking tonight is to highlight the plight of the residents at King Street, St. Simon, St. Andrew. Most of them are not here. I think that's probably due to built up frustration. But I'm still going to canvass on their behalf. Basically, we have a breakaway in the road in King Street, St. Simon, St. Andrew. We've been toiling with it.
So is the road down to one vehicle at a time passing because of the breakaway?
Yeah, the road is down to one vehicle.
Right.
There's slippage on the cliff side.
That's the ridge back. The saddle
Yes,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, because remember it's very deep, deep fall off.
Right.
But we looked at whether we could, if that's when I was the minister.
Right.
We looked whether we could put gabions, but it was so deep, it was difficult to get the gabions. But I don't know, Jason will be able to come and answer
Right.
what is happening.
Basically, just before I get any response, so in recent times, right up to today, we've gotten some accelerated work in terms of new curbs, milling and paving, etc. Further up the hill, and we're very thankful for that. So that is midway, and we're very thankful for that. So kudos to the team, because we have been struggling with the assigned contractor, the Chinese contractor Complant, and we have been very frustrated. In recent days, Carl Williams has come, and you can see the difference, and we're thankful for that. I want to ask you not to let Carl Williams leave, please.
Yeah, Williams is a subcontractor on the project for the Complant people, and they work together to find the best solutions.
Right. So
right?
we're asking for sure to keep Carl Williams in the do. But I just want to get a firm response from the authorities as to
Mr. Bowen?
what is the position in terms of the rail breakaway and the bottom of King Street.
Well, I mean, as it was mentioned earlier, you have to look at it, think about in terms of the soil types and so forth in the area. So we deal with a lot of clay type soils. We have land slippages, and at that point in time, the full investigations were carried out. It's unfortunate that they had slippage at that point in time. However, as you saw, Co Williams is the subcontractor. They have been working. They've worked to address that problem. I'm not going to go into detail as to the fully in terms of what would have transpired at that time. But as you said, there was some slippage, and that was addressed relative to the design, and also we carried out the construction works as you see going on as we speak, right?
Right, but I still want to know, because there's a cloud over that actual breakaway point. Court Williams has done above and they've done below. But just want to get some firm commitment as to what is the plan on.
Well, that is something we could discuss after, but as I'm saying, we are working, we have developed a solution to deal with that, right? But we can discuss
sounds
that.
Good.
Yeah?
Sounds good.
Just to add, Richard, right, as you mentioned King Street, we would have started King Street, I believe, last year, just around Good Friday, and we would have experienced some land slippage shortly thereafter. But as you said, the work has accelerated. We have actually paved King Street, a section of the road, and that section of the road was paved primarily because we realized, because of the steepness of the hill, that persons were having difficulty getting that hill in vehicles. So we went ahead and we gave you what we call a binding course. So there are going to be two layers of barber green on that road. That first layer of binding course is just so to ease the hardship of people having to traverse that hill.
Yeah.
All right, and the subcontractor, C.O. Williams, came in, and they are doing both the civil works, and they're doing the gabion works as well. So I know you're concerned as to who will do the actual breakaway. Well, you see that C.O. Williams has started on the northern side. They're doing gabion works on that northern side, just beyond Henderson Lowe's house,
right, just
and they will continue to do the gabion work right within the breakaway section. So,
thank you.
Fear not.
Thank
Fret
you.
not thyself.
Also, just rest assured we are working on it, and we're not going to stop till the matter is resolved. Mr. Broker.
Hi, good night. My name is Renise Prescott. I am a concerned parent at A. DaCosta Edwards Primary School.
And Ms. Prescott, where do you live?
In Babylon, St. Andrew. Earlier this year, I had reached out to the relevant authorities to get the pasta done at the school for the kids so they could play sports. And nothing has happened. That was, as I said earlier this year. So the teachers have to take the kids in their vehicles over to Lakes Pasta to do the sports. So we did not participate in sports this year at the stadium because obviously the children didn't get to train. I reached out to the Soil Conservation Unit to get the pasta graded. Someone was supposed to get back to me, they did not. I reached out to Mr. Springer, he reached out to someone else, and nothing has happened. So I wouldn't like that in the instance that when the children are traveling to the pastor in the teacher's cars, that something unfortunate happens for something to be done with the pastor. We are promoting healthy lifestyles for the kids at school, and the children can't play because there's no pastor. I would please like something done so that the children can have uses of the pasture.
I hear you, Mr. Bascom. If you can take note, please. Even if it is others, Sports Council needs to take the lead on this to make sure that we can get these kids being able to train. Correct? Thank you for bringing it to our attention too, so it can be fixed.
Thank you.
All right? You can do that, Mr. Bascom. You all can get arranged to get the playing field graded, no? Thank you. That's it? No one else? All right. I want to thank everyone, but before we close off, I'd like to give the MP the opportunity? Okay. Mr. Morris wants to speak first before I hand over to your Member of Parliament, Rommel, and then to be able to say good night to all of you. I notice the rain has come down, but anyhow, come.
Good night, folks. I just want to make an apology. When Miss Lowe was speaking, Miss Holligan was behind her, and the way how we set it up at the desk, the two of them were supposed to speak one after the other, kind of together, because both were transport board issues. I think there was a little bit of mix-up, and Miss Holligan left upset because she didn't get to speak. So let me tender an apology publicly if she's listening, or whoever is associated with her. Just let her know it is our mix-up, and we do accept it. So genuine apologies.
I see a member from the PAC is trying to make your way to the front, but I would speak on your behalf. As you know, we have a very active PAC here in St. Andrew. I suspect she wanted to come out here to speak a little bit about our crop night that's coming up in a few weeks. I want to take this opportunity, PM, Prime Minister, to publicly invite you down to St. Andrew on the 23rd of August, around 7 p.m. to experience St. Andrew's Crab Night. It's a once in a lifetime, it's a unique experience, and I would want to invite all of Barbados to come down here to St. Andrew on the 23rd and then experience Crab Night. Now, having said that, I just want to give a brief report of what has been happening here in St. Andrew. I know most persons came here tonight to speak to matters related to bus service and so on, and very little was said about the road works that's going on in St. Andrew. Yes, we know we have some challenges with the bridges, but we have done a significant amount of work as it relates to the infrastructure here in St. Andrew. The footpaths have been done, a number of roads, all of the side roads over there, we are working on. What has not already been paved is scheduled to be paved, if not tomorrow, then on Friday. So a lot is being done in St. Andrew. Now, we're not going to get everything right at the same time. We're not going to get all the work, all the issues, all the bridges, all the roads, all the bush. We're not going to get all that done, the bus service. We're not going to get all that fixed at the same time. But I want you to rest assured that I am working hard every single day. The ministry is working hard every single day. This government and this Prime Minister is working hard every single day to ensure that a better life for persons, to ensure that persons right here in St. Andrew have access to all the amenities, all the benefits as anyone else in Barbados. Yes, we live in a rural parish. Yes, there's been some degree of neglect because of the nature of rural parishes. But I just want you to know that within the Ministry of Transport, for one, I can tell you, and within this government, that we're working hard to by small or bit by bit, address all or most of the problems that we have here in St. Andrew. So with that, I don't know if the Prime Minister wants to wrap up, but I would turn over to the Prime Minister. We're working hard on your behalf.
No, I just want to thank the Member of Parliament and to thank all of the departments. As I said to Mr. Seeley earlier on, we will not always get everything done, but we're trying to do as much as we can within the circumstances. And given the fact that we've been able to stabilize the economy and to allow it to grow, it has allowed us to do a lot more than we would otherwise have done. The concerns as it relates to the buses, Rommel, you are in the Ministry of Transport. I am giving you specific responsibility for dealing with the Transport Board to ensure that your constituents are not unfared, but more importantly, to ensure that the Ministry of Public Works can get on and complete the construction of Bruceville Bridge so that we can free up some buses, and the combination of freeing up those buses alongside with the new ones that we're buying, but with the best will in the world, and that we are receiving as a donation from the Chinese, those are not going to come before February, March, April next year. So I'm asking us to stay the course. and to recognize that we've already spent significant sums, which is not any comfort to anybody waiting for a bus tonight, but we will make sure that we can solve the problem eventually. And that is what we're asking to do. The people of White Hill, where Corlita gone? Thank you. Corlita, you all waited 9 years. 9 long years. And eventually we told you, the first time I came down there in 2017, I told you that it would be done. I would have loved that it could have been completed within a year of coming to office, but that was not to be the case, both in terms of physical resources as well as money resources. But I asked you to stay the course, and I asked you to believe that we would get it done. It has been done. For the other areas in Scotland District, that not just St Andrew, but across the Scotland District, that have been neglected not just for a few years, but for a few decades, I'm saying to you, this government's commitment is to do one by one by one by one, and as the old people taught us, one blow is do what? Kill all cow. So I believe we can get there, but I'm not going to encourage people to believe that it can happen overnight, because I'm not a magician, the government is not a magician, and we can't twiggle our nose like Elizabeth or Bewitched for the older ones among you and make it happen. So thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you. Chief, I believe that we can also make sure that the repairs for here are done at the school, and that those be done as a matter of urgency to be completed. And for DaCosta Edwards, similarly, the community access program, let us treat, particularly since St Andrew does not have a resource center, let us treat this as an early pilot with the Ministry of Community Development, Youth and Sport to be able to get some kind of limited access program going with the assistance of the Member of Parliament and other community spirited people in the neighborhood. And finally, get home safely, because the rain has started to fall, and I don't want anybody getting into any difficulties on their return home. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night. Take care.